Starbucks, the corporation, is an American coffee company founded in Seattle, Washington, by Howard Schultz on March 30th, 1971, and is now recognized as the largest coffeehouse company in the world, with over 20,000 stores worldwide. Originally, Starbucks mainly targeted the adult crowd and flourished as a coffee bar that emulated the atmosphere and environment that Schultz experienced in the coffee bars found in Europe. Starbucks' mission is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time.
Before the soft drink campaign started, there was an enormous coffee drinker community. Most people were drinking at least 3 cups a day. Soft drink sales began to rise as Pepsi and Coke battled each other to win the teen market. Pepsi developed their Pepsi Generation campaign, and Coke created their Real Thing campaign. As these new drinkers entered into adulthood, they brought their soft drinks to work and created the soft drink trend that led the coffee market to plummet. Howard Schultz saw that coffee manufacturers were still continuing to market towards an older crowd and decided that there must be a way to reverse this decline in coffee sales. According to the book Consumer Behavior, Building Market Strategy, Hawkins and Mothersbaugh pointed out that the diffusion process is the manner in which innovation spread throughout a market. Starbucks started to appeal to a diverse target audience through the introduction of a new type of coffee culture. That is when the rate of diffusion started to increase rapidly. The younger consumers were first in line to see the new trend of Starbucks and gourmet coffee. The diffusion of innovation is split into 5 categories: innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. The characteristics of an innovator are risk takers, young, well-educated, and they use commercial media, sales personnel, and professional sources to learn of new products. Starbucks consumers that belong to this category are people who are already drinking coffee and want to try new gourmet coffee that was introduced by Howard Schultz. The type of group factor in this category describe youth or middle-aged people. They are more likely to be up to date with the latest trends and looking for what is new and next through the use of technology and other professional social media outlets. These people are the ones that are aware of current news and how the culture of America changes. Early adopters are characterized as opinion leaders, successful, young, willing to take risks even though there might be failure. They are also more likely to provide information to others. Starbucks consumers that belong to this category are people that pick up on the new trend of lingo and icons of Starbucks before the average person in a social system does. The type of group are youth and middle age that are outgoing and are looking for new places to meet. Starbucks culture integrated an environment for people to feel relaxed, whether by themselves or in a group. Early adopters are most likely to use the observability factor by watching the innovators and the positive feedback of professional sources on how the culture of Starbucks is. These people are most likely to tell their friends and spread their information and experience to others.
The early majority. Characteristics of the early majority are that they are somewhat older in age than the rest of their peers. They are also less well educated than the early adopters. Although they are socially active and aware of trends, they are seldom opinion leaders nor trendsetters. These consumers rely heavily on interpersonal sources of information, meaning they depend on good word of mouth reviews from their close peers. The early majority of Starbucks consumers are the ones who began to notice an influx of the circular Starbucks siren logo popping up on coffee cups among their peers. When seeing this, the early majority deciphers it as positive feedback for Starbucks beverages and the Starbucks brand. This sparks a desire to be part of the growing crowd of Starbucks patrons. These customers tend to order what seems to be the most popular drink among their friends rather than trying their own selection. The late majority. Characteristics of the late majority are that they are older and have less social status and mobility than the earlier adopters. These consumers tend to be a lot more skeptical about adopting innovations than the preceding earlier majority. Rather than quickly jumping on new trends based on positive word of mouth feedback, the late majority are more likely to respond to social pressures or a limited availability of the previous product. The late majority of Starbucks consumers are not generally coffee shop consumers and probably prefer to drink their coffee from home. However, they find themselves constantly exposed to the Starbucks logo as well as surrounded by Starbucks drinkers in the workplace. The late majority's consumption is sparked by a growing curiosity as well as a desire to be able to join in with coworkers and friends who drink Starbucks. Laggards. Laggards are locally oriented consumers who do not invest their time in exploring new innovations to adopt. These introverts are the least likely to engage in the same social interaction as the rest of the adopters. Laggards are known to be relatively dogmatic. Because they are oriented toward the past, they are least likely to respond to any current trending innovations. These consumers will eventually succumb to purchasing new products but will do so with reluctance. The laggards of the Starbucks consumers are probably those who stick to making their daily cup of coffee from home. They are unaffected by the growing popularity of the Starbucks brand, uninterested in the menu selection as well as the lingo that accompanies it, and are not captured by the logo as everybody else. When laggards purchase from Starbucks, it is important to recognize that they are purchasing their daily cup of coffee out of convenience, as they may have forgotten their cup of coffee at home or were too lazy to brew it in the first place, rather than purchasing it as a result of Starbucks brand equity.
We will discuss the solutions. In order to reverse the declining sales in coffee from the younger generation, Howard Schultz decided to do something different. He decided to change the entire marketing strategy and create a recognizable icon. Ever since Howard Schultz decided to do this, the Starbucks icon has become one of the most recognizable icons. To invest in the younger market, Starbucks decided to do a few things. One, they decided to create an app that younger users could use, and through this app there was a rewards program. Depending on how many drinks you would buy, it would all add up, and if you got a certain amount of drinks, you would get free syrup, or you can get free, and on your birthday you also get a free drink. Another thing that Starbucks decided to do to attract the younger generations recently was to offer free Google Wi-Fi in all of their locations across the US. By doing this, Starbucks encouraged users to stay for longer and to come to Starbucks simply for the Wi-Fi, but eventually stay and drink and enjoy their coffee.
Starbucks' first introduction to the market was successful due to innovation of a new lifestyle. This case shows that 1. They realized they only had a niche target market of the older generation. 2. Another niche market caught their market and lifestyles are dynamic. 3. Newer generations are looking for change and modern influences to draw their attention. 4. Diffusion of innovations. This creates longer lifetime value of customers, brand loyalty, and equity. Although their legacy started in 1962, they thrived in modern culture when Schultz took over. They now have created a lifestyle and become a modern idol for the new generation coffee shops.